Do you have any evidence for any of these things?
Who have the evidence?
No, I'm asking you, do you have any evidence?
We have evidence in the Qur'an. You have a Qur'an?
So please, yeah, in the Quran, where do you have evidence, for example?
Did you read the Qur'an?
Yes, I did.
What did you find?
I find no evidence whatsoever.
And did you
So
read
let
the Hadith, Bukhari and Muslim?
Hadiths are late literature. Late literature. Hundreds of years later. It's made up.
100. You have to correct your informations for 200 later.
200.
From Bukhari, yeah.
That's late. Good. That's late enough.
Yeah, I know, but
That's late enough.
No.
Do you know how many manuscripts of Sahih al-Bukhari is from 200 years after Muhammad?
What?
How many manuscripts are for Sahih al-Bukhari from about 200 years after Muhammad?
I don't know.
In other words, don't claim it's from 200 years later, because there's no manuscriptal evidence even for that. That's again a claim. I need evidence for claims. So let me go back to my evidence question. Do you have any evidence that Muhammad is from Mecca? You said the Quran has evidence. Where in the Quran does it say Muhammad is from Mecca?
From Mecca?
Yeah. I know. Where in the Quran does it say that?
No,
You didn't have to say in the Qur'an Muhammad from Mecca.
So why do you think he's from Mecca then?
He's from Mecca. Like,
Why do you think so?
why you? The question is back to you. How do you know is Muhammad is not from Mecca?
Well, I think
See what I mean?
I'm answering.
Same thinking.
No, you didn't hear me. You didn't hear me. I didn't finish my answer. I think there is no evidence for Muhammad of Islam from being Mecca. There is no evidence whatsoever. And therefore, to think that he's from Mecca, to me, is to believe in a fantasy story. And therefore I'm asking you to contradict me. Have you got any evidence that Muhammad is from Mecca?
Listen.
We're not have enough knowledge to convince you.
This is basic. Muhammad being from Mecca is a basic point. Let's move on.
If we're going to talk about the origins of Muhammad, especially the claim that he was born in Mecca and later migrated from Mecca to Medina, we need to look at it not only through the lens of tradition, but also through the perspective of history and evidence. Interestingly, the Qur'an never explicitly says Muhammad was born in Mecca. The name Makkah appears only once in Surah 48:24, and even there it refers to an event in the valley of Makkah during a peace agreement, not a record of birth. The word Makkah in Surah 396 refers to the blessed house, but it offers no biographical detail. Other terms like al-Qura or al-Balad al-Amun, which are often identified with Mecca, appear in the Quran without any statement that they were the birthplace of Muhammad. The connection between these terms and Mecca comes from later tafsīr and surah literature written in the 8th-9th centuries, over 100 years after Muhammad's death. The same pattern applies to the Hijra. The Quran does speak of those who emigrated for the sake of Allah and of the two in the cave in Surah 940, but it never states that this journey was from Mecca to Medina. The old name of Medina, Yathrib, appears only twice in the Quran, and in both cases it is in the context of the local inhabitants, not as part of Muhammad's travel narrative. In other words, the Hijra story we know today, with its clear Mecca to Medina route, comes from sīrah and hadith sources, not from the Qur'an itself. From an academic standpoint, this raises an important question. The Hijra is such a monumental event in Islamic history that it marks the very beginning of the Islamic calendar. Historically speaking, an event of such magnitude should leave some kind of material trace, inscriptions, administrative records, or non-Muslim accounts that could serve as evidence. Yet, there is no contemporaneous record from the 7th century that documents a large-scale migration of Muhammad and his followers from one city to another. This absence has led modern historians to conclude that the geographic details of the Hijra were likely standardized later, as part of shaping the Islamic identity narrative.
So, Muhammad having conflict with pagan Meccan Arabs, have you got any evidence for this at all?
The thing is, we don't know what you want to know.
Exactly what I'm asking right now is what I want to know. No, please. What I want to know is exactly what I'm asking you. Do you have any evidence for Muhammad performing a hijrah from Mecca to Medina?
I tell you, read the Quran.
I've read the Quran. There is no evidence. I'm trying to ask you. Where in the Quran? Where in the Quran? Mecca to Medina. Please, let him find. You should at least find. You can't just, you can't play ping pong. You just at least, you need to find. Please find out where does it say Mecca
Okay,
to Medina?
70. 72. Where is the ampel? Here? Ampel.
Here.
ampel 7. وإن استنصرهم في الدين فعليكم الناس وإن استنصركم هؤلاء العرب those who believed and left their homes هاي الهجرة who believed and left their homes
From Mecca. From Mecca to Medina.
No, wait, this is Hijra. Yeah, we know the Hijra.
Please listen to
We
me.
have just Hijra, one Hijra.
One second, please.
Okay.
Please listen to me.
Okay.
I'm asking you,
Yeah.
what is the evidence for a hijrah from Mecca to Medina?
The evidence is here.
Where is it? Do you see even the word
Okay,
Mecca?
when you travel,
see-
okay, I'll give you a question. When you travel from India to England, yeah, you don't travel. You don't travel, not. I don't need to say you travel from India to England. Just travel is
So
enough.
any travel is from India to
But
the
it's
UK?
a travel, Hijra.
No, listen to me carefully. Maybe the gentleman could help.
Yeah.
The evidence I'm asking for
Yeah.
is, for example, give me the evidence that a hijrah happened between Mecca and Medina, from Mecca to Medina, as opposed to, for example, as opposed to from Birmingham to London. What's the evidence that the hijrah happened from Mecca to Medina?
What the reason?
No, the evidence. you
Evidence,
said.
evidence.
Okay.
Now he understands the thing. Evidence for the hijrah from Mecca to Medina.
شنو الآية كتقول؟
لا والو ما كاينش شي حاجه واضحه ولكن انا ناقصين جبدان.
وهذا اللي لنا شنو يعني؟
I'll give you a hint though, by the way. If you want a hint.
This is hadith. Hadith.
Hadith-led literature.
Look, this is
led
hadith.
literature. No, look, this is my entire point.
Brother, we have
My entire
our
point.
religion- listen to me, please. In our religion, we follow Quran and Hadith. We
Which is what I call fantasy story. My point is very simply.
the word of God. Why do you need the hadith?
One second.
Because-
So in terms of history,
you know-
one second, brother. Please, one second. One second. So in terms of history, before you understand this is from God, before you decide what you believe in and what you follow, you need to know the history.
yeah.
And I'm trying to know the history right now. You are telling me you believe, you follow both the Quran and the Hadiths. But before you decide to follow, you should know if it is true or not.
Yes.
So I'm asking you, what is the evidence that you have for Muhammad to have traveled, to have performed
In
a
Quran.
hijrah,
Maybe it's not
use
in Quran.
any early artifacts?
Hadith. We have
Hadith is
in
not an
Bukhari.
early artifact.
For you.
Use any early artifact. 200 years later, people who come from faraway lands, they can't comment on where from Muhammad left and where to he went. They can't comment. Let me ask you another question. That's fine. For a woman,
دابا هذا بحال كيشوف ديك الغنمه اللي مهرس لها رجلاه دابا هذا خاصو يمشي يتكلم مع الناس اللي كيعرفوا الدين ويوقفوا على حده هذا كيعادلوا باش كيشوفوه حنا سبيك مع الناس باش كيبيعوا شي يقولوا جاسون.
Listen.
do you have any evidence, or maybe I'll ask the next question?
Listen. Listen. We in our religion, my English is not good enough. You can
it's good
understand
enough.
me,
You understand.
In our religion, we have two source reference. We have Hadith and Quran.
I'm
It's not
asking
like-
you.
listen
I'm
to
asking you a historical question right now. I'm not asking you what you believe in.
me. Yeah.
One second, please, one second. I'm not asking you what you believe in. I'm not asking you
The
what.
evidence in
One
Hadith.
second, one second.
Okay.
I'm not asking you what you follow. I'm not asking you what you. I'm not asking. One second, sir. Excuse me. I'm not asking you what you follow.
Yeah.
I'm asking you what the evidence is.
Yeah.
Late sources you may choose to follow, but that doesn't make them evidence.
If we talk about how many manuscripts of Sahih al-Bukhari exist from 200 years after Muhammad, we're touching on one of the most significant weak points in the historical study of Hadith. Think about it. Muhammad died in 632 CE. Al-Bukhari wasn't even born until nearly 2 centuries later, around 810 CE, and only began compiling his work in the mid-9th century. That means that even at the very moment Sahih al-Bukhari was being written, it was already far removed from Muhammad's lifetime. Interestingly, while Islamic tradition places Sahih al-Bukhari at the very top of Hadith authority, the academic world views it differently. When we follow the trail of physical evidence, there isn't a single complete manuscript from the 3rd Islamic century, about 200 years after Muhammad, that survives today. What we have are copies that appear several centuries later, generally from the 5th Islamic century, around 400 years after Muhammad, and these are often only fragments, not full volumes. Almost all of these surviving copies trace back to a single transmission line through al-Bukhari's most famous student, al-Firabra. This means the text we have today has already passed through a centralization point before being copied and spread. In the field of textual criticism, that's a serious issue. In biblical studies, for example, hundreds of early manuscripts can be compared to identify variations and assess textual stability. But with Sahih al-Bukhari, we face what scholars call silent centuries, long stretches of time in which no material evidence exists to check or compare the text. And in that period, called 200 years after Muhammad, al-Bukhari himself hadn't even been born, so it's not surprising that no manuscripts from that time exist. What was circulating then would have been loose collections of hadith, personal notes, or oral memorization by scholars, not the final bound work of Sahih al-Bukhari as we know it today. So the question comes back to us. When the physical evidence only appears centuries later and all of it follows a single transmission path, are we truly reading the exact text al-Bukhari first taught, or are we holding the end product of a long historical process that shaped it into the version we have now?